And a very good evening to you and a warm welcome to the Turning Point for ITN Sri Lanka. And we're delighted to have on our set this evening Sri Lanka's Foreign Minister, Mr. Ali Sabri. Mr. Ali Sabri, of course, being the Foreign Minister, is pretty much has a very good understanding as to how the international community views Sri Lanka and its progress since its troubles, especially over the last 2 years. And I'm hoping very much to ask Mr. Ali Sabri what exactly the international community thinks of all our progress, and because that's very important in various other means. And so therefore, great pleasure to welcome Mr. Ali Sabri to Turning Point. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Shagotali.
And Mr. Ali Sabri, how does the international community view Sri Lanka's progress after the last 2 years, let's say?
First of all, thank you very much for having me here. And I think it's been very encouraging. A lot of people in various parts of the world see Sri Lanka's case as an inspiration of a coming back. You would have seen the Assistant Secretary of State of the United States, Donald Lu's statement, how Sri Lankan story of a great comeback. So this is the same thing what we have been hearing from various parts of the world. Recently I've been traveling to Japan, Singapore, Romania, Poland, and some of the Middle Eastern countries. All of them are in awe to see that how we have managed to pull this back. So there is a lot of encouragement on their part.
And in terms of that, Mr. Sabri, how important is sort of personalized, mature relationships at leader-to-leader level?
That's very, very important. For example, we have certain issues. President Wickremesinghe could take a personal call to Samantha Power and speak to her and sort it out and put his views on that. And then when Sri Lanka was kind of there was a stagnation on the debt restructuring process, so nobody to take the lead. He could call the Japanese foreign minister, the former prime minister, and get them to come out with the OCC, which is Overseas Credit Committee. And they took the lead to create that along with India and France. So the leadership matters a lot, and personal connections also matters, you know, so that we have worked very hard during the last couple of years, developing so many new friendships. So that has come in handy. So foreign policy is a very intricate, very you need to be focused, sharp, as well as informed. So if you make a simple mistake, could cost you dearly. So I think President Wickremesinghe had managed it very, very well.
And Mr. Sabri, what if our relationship with India? India seems to, in a way, completely backed Mr. Wickremesinghe, now the president, especially when, as he came in, some weeks after that, India gave Sri Lanka some money, $3 billion, helped us out of a very, very tight spot. How much of that is to do with the confidence that the president instills and inspires with India?
So India, of course, those monies were negotiated prior to Mr. President Wickremesinghe took over. I think Basil went there and started. But once we started and working with them, he built on that relationship very strongly to have bilateral investment coming in. And then over a period of time, he had proven that he's a politician who keeps his words, not just promises. He says that what is possible, what is not possible, and he had delivered on that. I think Indians are pretty much confident as well as comfortable dealing with somebody who is transparent, honest, and cut and right. You know, this is what possible, this is not possible.
And in your travels as the Minister of Foreign Affairs, do you get, are you asked as to whether tourism in Sri Lanka is safe, whether we have the necessary implements to make a successful tour, like in terms of food and transport solutions and so on. Do you get asked that question all?
Sometimes the press asks, but then we don't sit until they ask that. We continue to work on that and provide that. So basically, when Sri Lanka reinstated the full power supply by removing the 13-hour of our power cut, and then restored the full supply and remove all sorts of queues, and then still some of the countries were slow to act in that. Then we vehemently lobbied and made a lot of efforts to remove their travel advisory. UK, European Union, States, Australia, Japan, South Korea. So we have worked very, very hard on that. One need to understand that when there is trouble, no one will go there because people are going for tourism to enjoy.
Yes.
So what is important on that is to restore in the normalcy and rule of law here. So President Wickremesinghe, as he got in, he did that. He managed to do that, and as a result of it, tourism this year, we'll see about, compared to 2022, about threefold increment. You know, for 700,000 this year, we should get about 2.3 million tourists.
And what are the other questions that they may raise with you about Sri Lanka? Do they talk about political stability?
Yeah, of course they will. So political stability and continuity of the reforms. So it's important that we continue the reforms and the undertaking we have given to the international community, particularly to the IMF and to the creditor committees. So 17 countries are there who are our creditors. It's so important that we walk the talk and of course continue to deliver on those promises in line with the DSA, that is the debt sustainable analysis.
And when you hear, as a serving cabinet minister, when you hear colleagues in opposition talk about renegotiating the IMF agreement or parts of it and so on, does that sort of give you the jitters? Do you think, well, no, hang on, you can't really do that, and that's all political talk?
Yeah, particularly I was shocked by the NPP's new statement saying that they will renegotiate the DSA. That's impossible. DSA is debt sustainable analysis. You can renegotiate provided you fall within that parameters. For that, you must tell as to how you are going to do. If you try to renegotiate the debt sustainable analysis, the entire IMF program is work around the debt sustainable analysis.
Right.
There are five criteria on that. First of all, the first criteria is how much is going to be your gross financial need. Gross financial need means how much of money you need to get to pay your debt, pay your interest, and also meet your expenditure. Right now, it is 32% of our GDP. You need to bring that down to 13%.
Right.
13%.
Okay.
Our gross debt, which was 119% of the GDP in 2022, need to be brought down to 95% of the GDP. That is by 2028. So how are you going to do that? So you have to pay. That's how you reduce the debt. So for that, you must make money. Thirdly, the most important thing is only 4.5% of your GDP equivalent could be paid annually for service of foreign debt, which is now 9.2%.
Right, so
and
then bring that down.
So this is debt sustainability, not a document somebody sign and give it to you just like that. You sit and talk to all the creditors, all the countries, Sri Lanka, IMF and everybody, and that's a collective document. If somebody is saying that they are going to come out with an alternative DSA, that's almost an impossibility. So that means they actually freeze the IMF program. If you freeze the IMF program, IMF has to give us $400 million by December. If only they gave released that the World Bank released their 400 million. And only those two release that the ADB will release their 500 million.
It is all linked.
Yeah, so all linked to each other. And also the foreign, now you would have seen that I was in Japan to negotiate the resumption of 13 projects which was stalled.
Yeah.
But they told first, talk to the IMF, go through the Overseas Creditor Committee and agree on the parameters of debt restructuring. Then they will, and as they promised, they did it, and now they have restarted. So if you are going backward, similarly, then we are in great trouble. IMF will stall the negotiations and go, but stall the payment. Others will stall the payment. The foreign countries, now you enter and agree on debts, on your debt restructuring on the basis of the forecast of the debt sustainability. The moment that debt sustainability is withdrawn, they will lose all the confidence on the system. Then what happens? Then they'll stop the whole program.
So we would then go backwards?
Yes, I hope we will not, but that's the inevitability. It will go back to the same situation or worse than what we experienced in 2022, because when we experienced this in 2022, we were approaching IMF and others were encouraging us to do it, and the countries were supporting us. But having gone through this halfway through, if you are abandoning it or try to modify this in a manner which is not possible, the international community will take a step back and not support us. So our recovery is going to be really painful, and probably a road to no recovery or no return, something like what we see in Lebanon, Venezuela, Argentina, prolonged economic recession, and unthinkable for a small country like Sri Lanka.
And you personally, are you happy? Does it inspire confidence that the process that we are in now, this relative stability, is a springboard to a full recovery? Are you confident?
Yes, if we continue with this for the next 3 to 5 years, I think this probably could be a good, stable foundation for a economic recovery. I do agree any economic crisis has 3 phases of recovery. First is to prevent further depreciation, no further deterioration. So that you kind of not expand the economy, you kind of make it smaller. How do you do that? You increase the interest rate, you restrict the imports, you restrict the consumption. By doing that, you control the inflation. You protect the rupee.
Yeah.
We did that at the beginning with fuel rationing, 20 liters a week, import restriction for about 2,000 products. Interest rate went up to about 20-30%, 28-30%, so people can't just purchase unless that's absolutely necessary. So we did that. So that is to prevent further deterioration of the economy. Having done so, the next level is stabilization. What is stabilization? The fiscal revenue stabilization. That is, you look at your expenses, you look at your revenue, so you increase the revenue, you streamline the expenses, and then you bring down the interest rate to manageable levels, but we have done so. So stability had taken place now. And you restore the supply chain, you remove the restrictions of import and all those things. Next phase is the growth. So growth is just beginning. So this growth should go for the 5 years or so. Then we are in a comfortable position to take some risk if necessary.
Thank you. Let's go for a quick break and come back and speak with Sri Lanka's Foreign Minister, Mr. Ali Sabri, on the growth prospects for Sri Lanka as we move ahead. See you on the other side of the break.
පරපුරක සහතිකය Anchor.
Prima Kotami Fantamai.
නව best ever sunlight. පෙරටත් වඩා සුවඳක් සමගින් සුපිරි සේදුමක්.
රුපියල් 50 මයිලෝ සැෂේක සමගින් දරුවන් දිනපතා පෝෂණයෙන් ඉදිරියට.
සමේ ඇතුළටම ගමන් කරමින් ඩාර්ක් ස්පොට්ස් අවම කරමින් දෙගුණ එක ග්ලෝ එකක් ලබා දෙයි.
Glow and Lovely serum cream.
මෙන්න ෆස්ට් වොෂ් එකේම කඩදා ගන්න.
එසේ සමුපතුරට ඉස්සෝරිය ඇති කරන විශපීජ 99.9ක් පළමු සේදුවේ සිට ඉවත් කරලා දැන් නෙක්ස්ට් ෂැම්පූ හිස නිදහසේ ඉදිරියට.
පැනරාමා අද රාත්‍රී 10:30ට
බුද්ධිමත් ඇගේ තීරණය ප්‍රීමා ස්ටෙලා. අපි හැමෝම කැමති.
ග්‍රෑම් 160ක්. ලංකාවේ වාසිම මෙලකට තියෙන පැක් එකක්. සිග්නල්.
චාකෝල් සහ ග්‍රීන් ටී සාරේ අඳුරාදින නව ටැන්ටෙක්ස් ඩීටොක්ස් ප්ලස් ක්ලෙන්ස් ෂැම්පූ.
ලක්ස් කියන්නේ සබන් ගැටයක් විතරක් නෙවෙයි. සමට සත්කාරයක්. නව ලක්ස්.
ද්විත්වාරක්ෂාවක් දෙන නව ක්ලෝගාඩ් නැචරල් සෝල්ට්. Let's fire it up.
Introducing Prima Kottumi Korean Ramen.
Let's fire it up.
රට හදන ප්‍රතිපත්ති සුසිල් ප්‍රේම්ජයන්ත සංජීව එදිරිමාන්න අජිත් පී පෙරේරා නලින්ද ජයතිස්ස
සුධර්මන් සමක තුලාව හෙට රාත්‍රී 10:30ට ITN Cinema World.
ನಮಕ ಮಚ್ಚಿ ಮಚ್ಚಿ ನೀ ಕೇಳೆ ಟೆನ್ಷನ್ ಬಿಪಿ ನೋ ಫೀಲೆ ಲೈಫ್ ಎಂಗೆ ಒಂದು ರೀಲೆ ಫ್ರೀಯಾ ವೆಡಿಡ ಗೋಪಾಲೆ
සොබා දහමට එක් වූ සොබා දනදී ක්ලබ් වසන්ත ඝාතකයාට වෙච්ච දේ ජනපතිට ලැබුණු අධිකරණ තීන්දුව මාලදිවයිනෙත් කැටේ හිඳෙයි දෙස් විදෙස් පුවත් රැසක් සමගින් හමුවමු සවස 6:30 අපගේ ප්‍රධාන පුවත් විකාශයත් සමගින්
And welcome back to the turning point for ITN Sri Lanka. Our guest today is, of course, Sri Lanka's Foreign Minister, Mr. Ali Sabri. Mr. Ali Sabri, as you finished, we promised to come back with our growth prospects. As a cabinet minister, you must be privy to lots of going on. Does what's going on inspire confidence in you that we are on the right track for growth of our economy?
Yeah, there are several factors. One thing is there is unprecedented interest in Sri Lanka all of a sudden. The Chinese are lining up for investment. Indians are very keen. For the first time, the Americans have come and made some serious investment in the Adani terminal and all those things. So there are areas of investment, particularly I see a lot of growth prospects in tourism. A lot of investment are lined up on that, and also maritime activities have a lot of potential. So many people have been talking to us, including from Japanese, Denmark, from Singapore, looking at making the Colombo as a hub and also using that as their center point in the whole region. So, and along with that, of course, we need to invest and train our the IT professionals. There is a lot of potential on that. So and renewable energy. So we feel there is a lot of opportunity for growth.
And amongst all this positivity, which is what it is really, you then have some form of potential negativity in terms of the UNHRC and so on. And I see that Sri Lanka has once again rejected the sort of lopsided matters that's happening in terms of the accountability. It appears to me that it's like double standards.
Appears double standard. We asked them, the people, the so-called the core group, go and look at in the mirror as to what you are doing as to the innocent people of Gaza.
Yes.
Giving diplomatic cover, supplying arms and ammunition, which is live, taking place now, and so many international institutions. Name anyone, everybody has said. Just turning a blind eye towards that and looking at Sri Lanka. We are not an apartheid state. We fought a ruthless terrorist organization in the world to protect our people, our citizens. Vast majority of them were Tamils themselves. You know, we have restored the peace and stability there, returned 96% of the Sri Lankan, the land which we were forced to occupy during the LTT terrorism. 12,197 LTT cadres who surrendered to the Sri Lankan government did not persecute. We gave them a general amnesty, rehabilitated and reintegrated to the community. And we have done so much. But like any other country, it will take time. 15 years is a long time. But if you look at some of those Western countries apologizing and returning our artifact after 300 years. So that's all right. So therefore, we will not be intimidated by this lopsided, one-sided reports, which is only targeting small countries like Sri Lanka and the African countries.
So in this whole, in the wider picture, is this whole UN mechanism now the high ideals it was started with, is it now sort of eroding and not many countries not taking much notice because clearly fueled by what's happening in the Gaza?
Obviously, pretty obvious, because in Sri Lanka's case, you know, we prosecuted the war with so much of care for our people and citizens. You know, for 10-15 years we had a Director General of Essential Service, Governor General. We continue to supply all the requirement which was necessary by the government to our population. We knew 50% of that going into the terrorist stand. What did we do? We did not want to put our people into hunger. So we knew what we are actually keep going the LTTE, but still, because that's how we persecuted. That's why at the end of the persecution, the innocent public did not run away from the forces. They ran towards the forces. That is because they knew their liberation.
They knew the real ground situation.
Ground situation. Their liberation, their safety, their security lies with the government. And government did not disappoint them. You know, took care of them, built houses for them, gave their lands back, took care. And not only them, 12,197 LTT cadres also. So therefore, it's a clear double standard. But of course, there are areas we can still improve and work on that. One is missing person. Our missing person organization is working hard on that. Other one is a Truth and Reconciliation Commission, which we are doing now. Thirdly, devolution of power, which we will implement. So subject to that, domestically, yes, there are things to be done. But I don't think that the Western countries have any moral authority to come and tell us as to how we should run our country. So therefore, we categorically reject this. We don't agree with it. And however, we will not shy away from our responsibility to our people in Sri Lanka, particularly to the Tamil community. They should be part of the governance. Therefore, we must devolve the power. Provincial council election must be held. And if anyone has a grievance, there should be a forum for them to come and add their grievances. For that, we are coming out with the TRC. Missing persons must go after the people who are missing and try to trace them out.
But in terms of missing persons, don't you find it an anomaly at the highest level, really, that some of these countries where people fled to or went for whatever, economic prospects or safety, whichever, they're not sharing that information as to the exact numbers who turned up, because not everybody walked out through Bandaranaike Airport with a stamp on their passport. So it's almost difficult, impossible to balance the books to get to the real situation.
Yeah, I think we can only trace and give them whatever the possibilities there.
Yeah.
These numbers with some of the Western politicians are coming out with is atrocious, absolutely false, not based on any reasonable figures at all. So we have collated all those information. Whatever the UN had, we got them.
Yeah.
Whatever the ICRC had, we got them. We advertise on 3, 4, 5 occasions for people to come and share with us, in terms of which from 2000 to 2009 there are 6,047 cases of missing cases. That's all. And out of which, that's a big number, of course. For 10 years, 9 years of period. But out of which 5,775, I'm in charge of that also now as the Minister of Justice, have come before the OMP and asking their support to find them out. But we must understand this in the context. During the same period of time, there were close to about 4,000 Sri Lankan forces also were missing.
Right.
So they were initially categorized as missing in action.
Right.
Then because we have all the information in that, they are now categorized as killed in action. So the chances are, I'm not making any assumption, most of these people within that 6,047 could be these innocent boys and girls who were forcefully recruited by the LTT, gave them 2 weeks of training, gave them a T56 and a cyanide capsule and sent them to the front. So therefore, these outrageous numbers are not good. You know, that doesn't mean that there is no collateral damage in a conflict. There was. But thing is, you know, we have, on the request of the Tamil parties and all those things, 12,000 people have been released and convicted 27 LTT terrorists. Convicted people, including the suicide bomber who came to, not suicide bomber, the bomber and the mastermind of the central bank attack had been released, who was convicted for 200 years. Why? This was unfortunately a political battle, conflict, went out of hand, became terrorism. So people who were involved in every one of them were not terrorists. You know, they were in for an ideology. So we were willing to pardon them and come out with it.
Indeed.
Yes. So if that is the case, it has to be reciprocated also.
Absolutely. So, and that is the way of the Sri Lankan character, I suppose.
Exactly.
Culture. Mr. Ali Sabri, thank you very much for being on The Turning Point.
Thank you.
For ITN Sri Lanka. It's been a marvelous experience talking to you as the Foreign Minister. In one sentence, is the here and now, the future for Sri Lanka, bright and sparkly? Do you see that?
It only depends on what is the choice the people make on the 21st of September.
Thank you very much. There you go. Take care. Thank you for watching The Turning Point. Bless you all.